All right, YouTube, how you doing? Welcome back to the channel. Week number 15. We got Monday Night Football. We actually have two Monday Night Football games this week. They'll be their own video on the channel. In this one, I'm diving into the Vikings and the Bears game. I'm going to give you my prediction on the side. I'll give you my prediction on the total. Talk about any other plays like player props that we like in the game as well. But as always, guys, down in the pinned comment will be a link to our Guy Boston Sports site with all of our final plays absolutely free. So make sure to keep an eye on that. In terms of how we're looking, we're recording this on Sunday. Things look okay right now. So hopefully we are looking at yet another, I know I'm jinxing it, let's knock on some wood, looking at another good NFL week here. But what do you say we dive into this one? Go ahead and hit that like button, hit that subscribe button as well. If you're watching this right when it comes out, in an hour or so, the other Monday Night Football game video will be out. So if you're looking for the Vegas and Atlanta game, that'll be out there. If you're watching this on Monday or anything like that, both videos will be out. Go check out the other video. But yeah, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, drop all your favorite plays down in the comments. Let's go ahead and rock here. So we got the Vikings taking on the Bears. Vikings come into this one obviously with a much better record, 11-2 this season compared to the Bears 4-9. Now the Bears are profitable, or at least positive, I should say. ATS, they're 6-5-2. Minnesota 8-4-1. Where this really gets a little dicey for the Bears is the fact that they're on the road. They're 0-6 this season on the road. Vikings being 6-1. Even from a cover perspective, the Bears covering in just 20% of their road games so far this year. Vikings at 67%. So obviously, you see that, you think advantage Vikings. If we dive into our dashboard here, if you guys want access to this dashboard, just become a channel member. We post it each and every week for the NFL, and then it re-ups every single month. Anyways, you can see here, if we look at it from a year-long perspective, the one thing that the Bears may have is a decent defense, right? As of late, not all that great. We do understand that. But it's not like they have the defensive advantage over the Vikings, is it? Even from a DVOA perspective, the number one defensive DVOA, Minnesota, number 2 against the pass, number 3 against the run. And this is, I do like DVOA, especially late in the year, because they're factoring in all of those game situations, opponents, and stuff like that, versus just the raw numbers of points per game, passing yards per game, rushing yards per game. So I do think that Minnesota has the defensive advantage, which is kind of where I started this, due to the fact that, yeah, obviously they have the offensive advantage. Have we seen what they've been doing last 3 games here? 4th in the NFL, 32 points per game, passing the ball a ton. Sam Darnold went off last week. What did he throw for? 5 tugs? Like, yeah, the dude has been absolutely crushing it. Their defense, though, also has kind of taken a step back in terms of how I mentioned the Bears have taken a step back. Minnesota has as well. But I don't necessarily sit here and say, well, Chicago's offense is crushing, right? Yes, they've kept some games close. Most notably, they played this Minnesota team 3 weeks ago. They lost by 3, so they ended up covering in that one. I think that was a 3.5 point spread. It might have closed at 3, so they might have pushed, but then Chicago plays Detroit, then they play San Francisco. They played Green Bay before Minnesota, right? So this has been a pretty bad gauntlet that Chicago's had to go through. So I give them a little bit of credit there. They've kept all of those games close. They're 2-1-1 in those 4 ATS, but to me, the fact that we just saw them play in San Francisco, that beaten and bruised San Francisco team still took it to them and beat them was like 38-13. I can't get on the Bears side of this one. I almost tried to because it feels fishy, like they played already, 3-point game, that type of thing. But to me, I have to take a peek here at Tennessee. I have to take a peek at Minnesota. Where the heck did Tennessee come from? Minnesota, minus the 7 points is obviously a big number. If I were to roll with this, I do have some player props and other plays in this game that I might like a little bit more than a side. If I had to roll that, I'd probably buy the half point there and get it to 6.5. I'd hate to lose this one on the hook. If you took the Vikings in the last game, if it did get down to a 3 and you took 3, they won by 3, you pushed, you know what I mean? Like, that has already happened to these two teams this season. So, yeah, I would probably buy the point, but I just don't see any way to comfortably, at least personally, get to the Bears in this one. They haven't been playing the best of football. Can you make the argument that they've been playing better than they were, in early November? Sure, but that's a pretty low bar to get past, right? If they had been cruising and, kept that game close against Green Bay, last time these two teams played, kept close against Minnesota, then kept it close against Detroit on Thanksgiving, which is kind of miraculous, and then if they beat or kept it close with San Fran, I'd be looking at this probably thinking, this team may be coming into form and whatnot. Getting a touchdown and an extra point, that's 7 points, could be crucial. I just don't necessarily think so in this spot. This team knows that they're chalked. The coaching staff will be different next year. A lot of these players probably most likely are not bought in. So to me, it's kind of like, let's just get through this one. We're on the road. Who's going to be pumped up on the Bears side of things, right? Not technically mathematically eliminated, but pretty much eliminated from the playoff chances and that type of thing. So I think they have like a less than 1% chance. So to me, Vikings, better team, better defense, which is crucial because I think that that's where the Bears for somewhat of the year had some, benefits, right? And maybe good looks, but better defense. And then also like they probably still care about this game to some degree. You know what I mean? So give me the Vikings. In terms of a total here, I've thought about and kick the idea around of a Vikings team total over. I don't know how well the Bears will play in this game. They have not been looking all that great offensively, right? In terms of their running game has been third last over the last 3 weeks. On the season, they're in the bottom third of the league. On the road, they've been terrible. So I don't know how much they're going to be able to control the game and really progress the offense. So I think from a total perspective, I almost think under. But I might go and spin it to a Minnesota team total over. Again, taking advantage of a Bears defense that clearly when they play talent, which Minnesota does have talent, let's not forget that, right? When they play talent, they do let up a lot of points. Now, I talked about their last 3 weeks and all that, and it's like, yeah, they played Detroit in their last 3 weeks. Minnesota was included in that. 4 weeks ago, they played Green Bay. Like, the defense not looking good as late has just much to do with the fact that they've been playing some good offenses. But I also don't want to just totally discount that San Francisco, who I don't deem this incredible world-beating offense because they've had their ups and downs for sure, right? Drops 38 on them. So if Minnesota goes out there, dinks and dunks, and just even does what they did last time, they should be able to cash their team total over. So yeah, I know it's kind of weird splitting hairs like that, but I'd go Minnesota team total over before anything actually on the game, just due to the fact that I sit here and I'm kind of like, do the Bears have enough to carry their own weight offensively for the over? Not all that sure. Makes me start to lean under, and then I'm like, but Minnesota could kind of tee off, right? Their offense is cooking, especially after last week, 42 against Atlanta. So screw it. Minnesota and team total over. Now let's talk some player props, guys. Before we do want to talk to you guys about Sleeper and the amazing deal they have going on right now. First and foremost, guys, link in the description as well as the pinned comment. You're going to get the Sam Darnold 0.5 passing yard square. Clearly, I like Minnesota in this game, right? Sam Darnold coming off one of his best games ever. He went absolutely off last week. In fact, let me talk about his stats real quick because I know I mentioned the touchdowns, right? But yeah, Sam Darnold last week, 5 touchdowns thrown, 22 of 28, 347 through the air. Jones ran for 73 and a touchdown. That team went off last week. Guys, Sam Darnold, 0.5 passing yards on Sleeper. You're also going to get a play 5, get 55 back in bonus cash over there right away. So go check it out. That link will be in the description as well as the pinned comment. I believe the $55 is split up into 11 $5 free bets that you get, which is really, really cool. So go ahead and check out Sleeper, guys. That link will be in the pinned comment. I've been using them for years. Absolutely love that app. If you don't know what it is a DFS player prop app. You pick more or less based on player set projections. You put them into an entry. The more you win, the more you get paid out. And I always talk to you about the unique thing about Sleeper. Each and every throw in that you have in there, like the plays that you throw in, they change the payout dynamically. It does not just follow the fixed payout structure like a lot of other apps out there. So go ahead and check out Sleeper. But like I said, I do have a couple player props that I want to talk about in this one. I don't mind the idea of Aaron Jones having a decent week here. I have him pulled up on our screen for a touchdown. You could see 3 straight weeks that he did score a touchdown, one of those being against the Chicago team. Now, Chicago, okay, 7th fewest touchdowns allowed this season. You flip it over specifically to running backs, 22nd. So obviously they struggle against the running back, especially getting into the red zone and whatnot as well, right? We look at this red zone defense efficiency. They're good at stopping teams from scoring in the red zone against the pass, against the rush. I do like Aaron Jones in this spot to be able to come in and punch one in, much like he did here. In terms of red zone rush share, who's getting it more than Aaron Jones? Well, okay. Let's see. Red zone rush attempts. 63 over 63% of his attempts, Aaron Jones. So if they get in the red zone, it's really him and nobody. And what I do like is I just had it up too, right? Red zone targets. Look at who this season is number 2 in red zone targets for the Vikings. I mean, it makes sense, right? You have Justin Jefferson, he's going to be ahead of him, but then Aaron Jones in the number 2 spot against a team, like I started to mention, Chicago actually not all that terrible in the red zone at stopping touchdowns. I don't think this Viking team is going to mess around and get creative and all that. I think this is a pound it, and let Aaron Jones go in and rush one in, right? Now, I haven't pulled up for his touchdowns, but I also don't mind the idea of his rushing yards. Like, look at his season, right? Oh, 106. That was his season high. Who was that against? The Chicago Bears, who are allowing the third most rushing yards to opponents. I will say, I think this line is a little bit juiced up there, just based on how we played last week, how we played against them. That's why I kind of look at the touchdowns. I think Aaron Jones has a good game, but I think in that good game is a touchdown, and for minus 115 odds we have right here, that's kind of what I'm liking, right? So understand that yes, if you want to take his yards or something like that, I do kind of sign off on it. I do like it. I just think that you're buying high in a sense, whereas this touchdown prop, yeah, it could be hit or miss, but I don't think they're going to mess around in the red zone. I think that they're going to avoid any potential turnovers or anything like that, and he's also getting targets. So even if they do decide to pass in the red zone, he could get a look there. Now, there's a couple other spots I want to look. We don't necessarily have specifics here, but I don't mind the idea of a Rome Odunze or even, any of the wide receivers really for this Chicago team. So let's start with Odunze here. You can see receiving yards setting at 40.5. He came very close last time they played at 39. His targets were up there. That's kind of what I'm looking at. He had 10 targets. He only caught 5 of them. His target share on the season, sure, it's behind DJ Moore, Keenan Allen. They've been kind of following that, but I still don't mind it. Minnesota allowing the most receiving yards to opposing wide receivers. Now, doesn't that make sense, right? Well, yeah, you throw in the fact that they've been winning a lot of games, they've been up, teams have had to throw on them, but I don't see this game going any differently, right? So Rome Odunze is going to be a look. I also don't mind Keenan Allen, like I've mentioned here. Keenan Allen for a touchdown for plus 220 seems like it could be a decent spot as well. He's got 1 touchdown against Minnesota here, but he has 3 touchdowns in his last 3 weeks. Thanksgiving, we know he scored a bunch, right? But how about this? Again, DJ Moore's going to lead all these, but Keenan Allen, obviously in the leading target share, DJ Moore leading, Keenan Allen getting over 20% of the targets, and he's getting some red zone looks as well, 18% of the targets. And then obviously DJ Moore is another one that we can kind of take a peek at too. His lines are going to be up there, so yeah, I think I would probably, the way that we looked in these, the order that we looked at them, probably would be my priority. I think Rome Odunze could be the go-to, because I think he's going to be the forgotten about one, and even using our dashboard here, you can see too, Minnesota against wide receiver 3s, this is defensive DVOA adjusted fantasy points versus position. That's a mouthful. I talk about it in my videos a lot, but essentially the production rate of positions versus your team, right? That's the biggest one. 55% production increase to wide receiver 3s. Rome Odunze is the wide receiver 3. So yeah, could be a good look. But any of these guys on, look at DJ Moore, also his highest in the last 10 games here, his highest receiving game, actually highest in the season. So yeah, I know that's kind of like a broad painted stroke, right? Like, oh, I like the receivers for the Bears. I would go Odunze, Allen more in terms of priority, just because I think that those lines kind of reflect that. So to me, Aaron Jones probably has a very strong chance of being a final play. I like Odunze. I do like Minnesota. 7 points is obviously a lot to lay. I'd probably end up buying 6.5, but that's what we're thinking in this game, guys. Keep an eye down in the pinned comment. Again, GuyBostonSports.com will have all of our final plays for absolutely free. All I have to do is click that link, and it'll take you right to the post with those plays. And if we add anything, I'll obviously add in more context and more rationale and everything like that. But yeah, let's keep this train going. This dumb brain has been pretty damn good at predicting some football stuff this season, so let's see if we can keep that going and keep riding it. But that's all I have for you in this game. Make sure to check out the Vegas and Atlanta video as well. That'll be its own video here on the channel. And yeah, I'll catch you guys in the next one, all right? Peace out.